Hello, my friends, my family, and my fans. I am Andrew Ditch. I have been diagnosed with autism and intellectual disability. Today, I want to talk about a really important topic. This is very important for millions of other adults with autism. This topic shows how incompetent the medical and mental health field really is. You go to a doctor when something bothers you, like when physical pain, stomach problems, or even when your behaviors are not seen as the social norm. This is where I start with how incompetent doctors are in identifying autism and intellectual disability, and how they often can use masking as a way to misrepresent someone's behaviors as non-compliance or argumentative rather than part of their intellectual disability or developmental disability. Expert Community Care Management is committing fraud by providing me a service that is funded by HUD. This program I do not qualify for. The reason they're providing me this is because no shelter will take me due to I'm not safe in a shelter. Both Expert Community Care Management and the shelter will be liable for my health and safety. I'm not able to afford to pay for an apartment. So for that reason, Expert Community Care Management is committing fraud. I have not been homeless. I do not have any disability, mental illness, or chronic substance abuse issue. I am not able to participate in any treatment programs due to no mental illness and no substance abuse. This is why Expert Community Care Management will be committing fraud, or I'd be in trouble for fraud. Because of the accusations on social media, I'm not going to risk something I do not qualify for. I do not see autism or intellectual disability listed as a qualified disability for this program. Also, my landlord is violating laws that require positive identification. I do not have a photo ID. My intellectual disability supports coordination told me today I am not eligible for a free photo ID from his company due to no mental illness. Another reason why Expert Community Care Management is I need to have a residence that I live in before they can switch my waiver to intellectual disability supports waiver. Without having a place to live, they cannot put any agency to take care of me. Housing assistance in Erie, Pennsylvania. What is Shelter Plus Care, SPC? ECCM strives to help people who are in difficult situations and need help getting back on track. Shelter Plus Care is a federally funded program through Housing and Urban Development, HUD, that provides permanent supportive housing, rental assistance, and supportive services for people who have experienced chronic homelessness and have qualifying disabilities. The program goal is to help participants increase their income while having a stable living situation and the ability to work in specific treatment programs. The treatment programs available focus on mental health, drug addiction, and alcohol addiction. Participating in these health treatments is the next step in gaining stability, which is why it is mandatory in the Shelter Plus Care program. Who is eligible for Shelter Plus Care? The head of the household and/or individual must have experienced homelessness for the past year, 365 days, either continuously or in 4 or more separate episodes. Have a qualifying disability, which typically includes serious mental illness, chronic substance abuse, drug or alcohol, physical disability, or chronic medical condition, and be willing to participate in certain treatment programs. These experiences can be challenging, so we are here to give as much support as possible. Our goal is to provide supportive services for children and adults during these difficult times. Applying for Shelter Plus Care with ECCM. Contact ECCM today to learn more about the Shelter Plus Care program. We want people to get the treatment they deserve so they can live their lives to the fullest. Shelter Care Plus frequently asked questions. What is the purpose of the Shelter Plus Care program? The Shelter Plus Care program is designed to help participants increase their income while having a stable living situation and the ability to work in specific treatment programs. Who qualifies for the Shelter Plus Care program? In order to qualify for this program, participants must have been homeless for a full year. They must also consent to select treatment programs. Do you need to be homeless for a continuous year to qualify? No. If you've been homeless for a cumulative year over the course of 4 or more episodes, you can still qualify for the program. Why is treatment mandatory for those in this program? Receiving treatment for mental illness is an important step in gaining stability in life. While the program seeks to help those in need, it also seeks to give them the skills to be able to stand on their own. Expert Community Care Management own Mental Health Services Department also claims that I am not a candidate for mental health therapy. This reason, I am making videos on mental health failure. Expert Community Care Management own Mental Health Services Department also confirms I do not have a mental illness. Expert Community Care Management own Mental Health Services Department confirms my severe autism and mild intellectual disability. Mental Health Services in Northwestern Pennsylvania. At ECCM, our goal is to help adults, children, and adolescents achieve recovery from behavioral health issues and also provide alternatives for the homeless and forensic populations. We strive to integrate a variety of community services into a master plan and guide individuals through the journey of recovery. The mental health services we offer include mental health screening and assessment, representative payee services, high fidelity, hi-fi, wraparound forensic case management, homeless persons behavioral health shelter plus care, coordinated entry. What are the signs of mental illness? Symptoms of mental illness vary by condition, but typically individuals will have some difficulty in regulating mood, inhibition, cognition, or perception, negatively affecting day-to-day function and their relationships with themselves and/or others. Who does mental illness affect? According to the World Health Organization, mental illness will affect 1 in 4 people worldwide within their lifetimes. Furthermore, at any given moment, 450 million people are suffering from some form of mental or neurological disorder. Beyond that, however, mental illness affects all of society. A disproportionate number of individuals living with homelessness or convicted of crime have some underlying mental health condition. When do mental health disorders first surface? Most mental health disorders arise before one's 18th birthday, yet many are left undiagnosed or untreated until years or even decades later. This is why child and adolescent care management is so crucial to more fully realizing one's potential as an adult. How can ECCM Mental Health Services assist my loved one? ECCM takes pride and great care in connecting families and individuals with the services best tailored to their needs. We provide screenings and assessment to assure a proper treatment plan, counseling and rehabilitation to get those troubled by a serious mental illness or substance dependency back on the right track, shelter coordination for those experiencing homelessness, and more. Contact us. We are here to help. Is it possible to achieve independence living with a mental illness? Why? Yes, depending on the severity of the condition and the individual's ability to make decisions in their own best interests and those of others. When that is not a possibility, we provide guidance and support to caregivers to manage these aspects on the afflicted individual's behalf, including financially through our representative payee services. What mental health services does ECCM provide? ECCM provides a variety of mental health service for children, adolescents, and adults. These services include mental health screening and assessment representative payee services, high fidelity, hi-fi, wraparound forensic case management, homeless persons behavioral health shelter plus care, coordinated entry. What am I supposed to do? What is HUD fraud? HUD fraud means intentionally lying, hiding information, or misusing federal housing funds or benefits in any HUD-related program. It covers both tenant fraud and landlord/agency fraud, and it is treated as a serious federal offense. What HUD fraud is? HUD fraud is any intentional false statement, omission, or concealment of a major fact that results in someone receiving HUD housing benefits or payments they are not legally entitled to. Common examples: tenant, Section 8, fraud, not reporting income or hiding a job, hiding assets, bank accounts, property, not reporting everyone living in the home, allowing unauthorized people to live there subletting the unit. Landlord fraud, billing HUD for a vacant unit, collecting rent for a unit that fails housing quality standards, demanding illegal side payments from tenants, misrepresenting utilities or ownership. Agency/program fraud, embezzling HUD funds, falsifying invoices, checks, or payroll, steering contract to friends or personal businesses, bid rigging, or kickbacks. Why it matters. HUD fraud is considered fraud against the federal government, and penalties can include repayment of benefits, loss of housing assistance, civil penalties, criminal charges, including jail. If you want, I can also explain how to report HUD fraud or help you figure out whether a specific situation counts as fraud. You're asking a really important question, and the short answer is yes. Simply offering you a HUD-related program you don't qualify for is HUD fraud. But it can be a sign of misconduct, negligence, or discrimination, depending on the situation. Let's break it down clearly so you can see where your situation fits. Puzzle piece 1. What counts as HUD fraud? HUD fraud requires intentional deception, someone knowingly lying, hiding facts, or misusing federal funds. Examples: falsifying eligibility information, enrolling someone in a program by lying to HUD, billing HUD for services a person is not eligible for, misrepresenting diagnoses, homelessness status, or disability level. Intent matters. A mistake, misunderstanding, or offering the wrong program is not fraud by itself. Puzzle piece 2. What you described. You said the program requires a mental health diagnosis or substance use disorder, enrollment in mental health treatment, homelessness for 1 year. And you do not have a mental health or substance use diagnosis, are not enrolled in treatment, are not homeless for 1 year. If someone is offering you a program you clearly do not meet the criteria for, then one of these is happening. A. They don't understand the eligibility rules. This is extremely common. Agencies often mix up HUD programs. B. They're trying to push you into the wrong system. This happens when agencies don't want to serve autistic or developmentally disabled adults and try to redirect them into mental health-only programs. C. They're trying to avoid giving you the program you do qualify for. This is where discrimination can come in. D. They're trying to get you to fit a program by labeling you incorrectly. This is HUD fraud, and it is unethical and potentially discriminatory. Puzzle piece 3. When it could become fraud. It becomes fraud when the agency or provider falsifies information about you, claims you have a diagnosis you do not have, reports you as homeless when you are not, bills HUD for services you are not eligible for. If they do any of the above without your knowledge or consent, that is HUD fraud. If they pressure you to just say you have a mental health condition or to enroll in treatment you don't need, that is coercion and is fraud, extremely serious. Puzzle piece 4. What this actually sounds like. Based on everything you've told me across conversations, this situation fits a pattern. They are refusing to give you the disability-appropriate program you do qualify for, ODP/IDD/autism services, and instead trying to push you into a mental health homelessness program that is not appropriate, not legally correct, not aligned with your diagnosis, not aligned with your needs, not something you qualify for. That is HUD fraud, and it is !disability discrimination, !misclassification, !system avoidance, !denial of appropriate services. Pennsylvania agencies do this to autistic adults all the time, especially when someone is articulate, uses AAC, or advocates for themselves. Puzzle piece 5. The key distinction. Crossmark offering you the wrong program can be fraud. Crossmark trying to push you into mental health treatment you don't need. Not fraud, but unethical and discriminatory. Falsifying your diagnosis or homelessness status. Fraud. Billing HUD for services you're not eligible for. Fraud. Denying you the correct disability services because they don't want to serve autistic adults. Discrimination, not fraud. If you're interested in disability topics such as treatment, support, accommodations, and rights, like this video and subscribe for more inclusive content. I will talk to you on my next video.